love to welcome you to Work on Climate. Um, if you don't already know, it's pretty self-explanatory, but Work on Climate's basic mission is to help you find a way to work on climate. We're an action-oriented community for people serious about trying to help with the climate crisis. So find climate jobs, build climate companies, different things like that. For our agenda today, we're going to kind of go through some of the Work on Climate resources for about 20 minutes. We'll have some time for questions. And of course, if you have a question along the way, feel free to pop it in the chat. Tegan will kind of flag that one and get everybody here. And we'll get to know each other a little bit over 20 minutes in some breakout rooms. So we'll hopefully be able to break you guys out into a bunch of different breakout rooms so you can get to know some of the other people who are there and kind of share a little bit about your climate journey. So I'll give a brief introduction to myself. I'm Marie. I'm a chemist by day, but I've been volunteering for Work on Climate for a couple of years now. I can let Tegan introduce herself as well a little bit.
Thanks, Marie. Yeah, I'm Tegan, been volunteering with Work on Climate for the past 2 years, which is basically like a little bit after it got started, as you'll see in some of the next slides, a bit about what Work on Climate is all about and how we got started. But yeah, I work in, I guess, marketing in climate and social enterprise space. So excited to be here and welcome you all.
Yes, very exciting. Cool. So a little bit of an introduction to WoCl, as we say, abbreviated. Work on Climate started about, as we mentioned, about a little over 2 years ago at this point, and it started out of two engineers from Google, Eugene and Cass, who decided that they were interested that the climate crisis was the most important problem that they were ever going to work on, and that they needed to quit their jobs and go and work on it. And when they did, they kind of posted on social media and different things like that, saying, this is what we're doing, we're going to go and commit the rest of our lives to working on climate. And they got a lot of responses back from those posts and from their goodbye emails and their posts on LinkedIn and other places saying, I feel the same way. I don't know how my skills apply to climate, but I feel that it's very important to work on this problem. Would love to connect. And so they really saw the need for this community to put together to kind of make something that people could use as a resource to help transition their careers into climate. And that's kind of the multiplying factor that they saw that could be really impactful. So shortly after that, kind of the core team formed. They recruited different people, including myself and Tegan and other people, to kind of be this core team to help figure out how to build this community. And it kind of started off as this Slack workspace, which is kind of the main facet of our community. If you haven't already joined us on Slack, definitely join us there. We'll talk a lot more about that as we go along. Went about the process of getting 501c3 nonprofit status, which we currently have. We also have over 11,000 members at this point. It grows every single month, as you can see from the number of people in this welcome call. There's quite a few people who are joining, and we also we're over in over 100 countries. I'm not entirely sure if we have every country represented, but we're getting quite the global reach, which is obviously really important. As we've gotten started in the space, we've also developed different friendships with different organizations, including the ones that are listed here, and always looking to make collaborative relationships with other people. Also, because we're a 501c3 nonprofit, we're fundraising right now, and so if you have any connections to different funds, would love to obviously connect there. Cool. So, of course, our main feature is Slack. Dee will drop the link on how to join us there in the chat, but it's a really great place to unlock different capabilities, different programs, different connections. As we said, there's a huge number of people there, and it's a surprisingly active group given how large the group is. So definitely, go in there. We highly encourage everybody to make an introductions post when they join. So go to the introductions channel and post about yourself. It can also be overwhelming. We know there's a lot of different channels. So we'll go through a Slack guide, and hopefully you can find something that's going to be really useful for you along the way. So we're going to go a little bit deeper into kind of like the different, so I'm going to go ahead and switch tabs here and talk a little bit about what we're doing there. I think first off, it's always good to kind of go through the Work on Climate website if you haven't already seen that, because one thing that's really cool is kind of our mission and our vision, which we've taken a lot of time to kind of put together. So obviously, like a lot of different climate organizations, we envision a world where climate change has been reversed. Obviously, we're not in that world today, but that's kind of the vision that we hope to see in the future, that it's been done equitably and justly. If you're not familiar with climate justice, it's a really great topic to learn a little bit more about. That all of humanity's work is climate positive or climate neutral, that we coexist with the natural ecosystems, and that there's a harmonious, respectful relationship there. We want to achieve this world where obviously we know that basically everybody has to get involved, as you know, and that's kind of our thesis, is like that in order to work on climate change, basically the whole world has to get involved, including large organizations, governments, communities, and individual people working towards this goal. Our mission is to get more people to work on fighting climate change through programs, partnerships, and through the community, which is obviously a cornerstone of our work. We like to really foster collaboration, experimentation, sharing of knowledge, awareness of the climate work ecosystem, because obviously, like, a lot of people don't really know how maybe their skills might apply, but there's so many jobs that could apply their skills. And we want to unblock as many folks who want to work on climate to do so and inspire them to take action. We're a very action-oriented community. So one thing to really go into, that we'll go into a little bit later, is that we're not as much of an educational community. So there are already a lot of really great climate organizations out there that do really great education, but we'd like to focus a little bit more on the action. How can we get people to take the next action in their step in their climate journey? Cool. With that, I'm going to jump into Notion, which I think Tegan will drop into the chat. And so this is kind of our wiki, where we have a lot of different information on the different programs and things that we offer. I'm going to go ahead and start on the how-to guide, kind of talk a little bit about the ecosystems that we foster and the different programs that are available. So if, as we mentioned, we're looking at people who are working or are trying to make their full-time job or their part-time job, or however they're working towards working on climate. So obviously that can come in a number of different forms. You could be a job seeker, so you're looking for a job to work on climate solutions. You could be an employer, where you have your climate organization or a climate company or startup or whatever who has jobs that are in the climate space available. Or you're a founder, where you're thinking of starting an organization, you want to get connected with people, you're trying to find, you like to create an organization that will help fight the climate crisis. So within each of these, we have a number of different things you can do. So of course, as a community member, the first thing is to go ahead and join Slack. You can get an intro to the community, which by posting on the introductions tab, or attend a welcome call, as a lot of you are right now. I think somebody's not on mute. Somebody could mute, that'd be great. Obviously, understand the Slack channels. I'll go into a Slack guide shortly. Meet other people. Find recordings of past events. We'll go into where those are. If you're a job seeker, you may be looking to identify the climate organizations that might be hiring. We have a bunch of different job seeker resources in our starter packs. We also have a number of different channels devoted to this, which again, I'll go into in the slide, when I'm talking about the Slack guide. If you're an employer, if you're looking for an employee or a contractor, you can post on the jobs channel or the gigs channel. You can cross-post to certain curated channels, such as the Jobs Green Energy, Jobs Remote, Jobs Ocean, Jobs Regen, different things like that. Oops. I think I clicked on the wrong thing. Let's see. Sorry about that. Okay. And then, yeah, if you're a creator or a founder, you might be looking to connect with different people. Find a co-founder, find an employee, a someone with the right background, you can definitely search the introductions tab. So you can search, the Slack search feature is really great to be able to find different people, just use different keywords and for whatever you're looking for. Cool. With that, I'm going to go ahead and go back and show you the Slack guide and talk a little bit more about that. So our Slack directory, of course, is, trying to get people connected, to have a laser focus on action, to help people work on climate. So what channels and resources exist? There's a lot of different channels. If you haven't already, definitely go and see some of the different channels that are available. If you're unfamiliar with Slack, there's a lot of really great tutorials online. So I'd highly recommend just search on YouTube or search, and it comes up from the Slack support webpage. It'll help you kind of, they have a lot of really great videos or tutorials on how to use Slack and different things like that. So, so there's a lot of channels that are available for everybody that cover a number of different topics. So we have a number of different geographic area channels. So for instance, Europe, I think there might be an Asia channel at this point where you can connect with people who are more in geographic areas. We also have a number of different meet groups. So meet SF Bay Area, meet Barcelona, meet New York City, meet wherever. And those ones are for in-person meetups. People get together, have coffee, something like that. People have been kind of self-organizing there. Some of the major important channels, of course, that I'd like to talk a little bit more about is jobs and gigs. So as I kind of mentioned before, this is kind of where people can post their jobs. And a lot of times these are very personal posts, like either for their own company or for a friend's company. So it's a very close connection. It's not kind of just a random jobs board. So this is a great place to search different jobs that might be available, to post jobs if you know jobs that are available. Please make sure that they're obviously climate related, and figure out how to brainstorm strategies to find or get them. Same thing with the gigs channel. This is for part-time or short-term work, volunteering, open source, different things like that. It's great if you are either looking to just dip your toes into tangible climate work or you have a short-term position available. The introductions channel is a really great channel to start off with, of course. You can kind of browse the different introductions that are there, but there's, several a day that happen, and people are really great with engaging with them. So it's a great place to say hi, share a little bit of your story, talk a little bit about maybe what you're looking for, or just hopefully meet and greet others if you see other introductions that you're interested in engaging with. In addition to our jobs channel, we have a jobs alerts channel, which is a little bit, this is due to our partnership with ClimateBase, which is a really great climate jobs board. So these are automated alerts that come through on that channel. So this is a little bit more of like, oh, okay, this is just the new jobs on ClimateBase for today. So those come through on there. A little bit more, less personal, but there's much more jobs that are posted there. If you're officially looking for work, you can either post on the Looking for Work channel or on the Resume channel. Those are really great channels to get feedback on maybe what you want to change about your resume, or maybe to talk about what you're looking for. That might be a little bit more specific than introductions post. You can also share your past, share what you did, learned, or created on something. If you have a new venture or something like that. We'll talk a little bit more on the community guidelines, but definitely feel free to share your venture. We ask that if you're promoting something like your blog or something like that, that you only post once a month. Cool. If you have specific roles that you're looking for, so say you're a designer or you're a PM or you're a recruiter, it'd be great to join some of these individual roles that kind of help you find people to either connect with or find different roles that might be available, or different things like that. There's some really great ones out there. We also have a number of learning groups, which I'll talk a little bit more. Well, I guess I can just talk about them right now. So learning groups are small groups that get together and have some kind of tangible output. So like a white paper or a potential business plan or just a informational guide. The climate justice team, for instance, put out a Climate Justice 101 guide. So if you're very new to climate justice, it's a great read to understand a little bit about the ideas around climate justice. Definitely, you can check out all the different learning groups. You can also start your own learning group. I'll show a little bit about how to do that. Cool. So as I mentioned, there's a lot of different channels that are available. I didn't talk about all of them. So if you see anything that's interesting to you, definitely, there's probably something there. If you have any questions kind of about the Slack structure or in general, one really great channel is the community meta channel. So if you have questions about like, why does this channel exist? Or like, why can't I find information on this thing? Or different things like that, definitely post in the community meta channel and people will help you direct you to the right resources. Cool. I'm going to go ahead and jump into kind of two of our main programs that we have available. First, I'll talk quickly about starter packs though. So starter packs are community curated resources. Again, we're not meant, Work and Climate has never been set up to be more of an educational community. It's been really focused on how to get people to do towards action. But we do have these lists of starter packs that are curated resources that are only a short list of resources, nothing that's incredibly intimidating. But if you're looking to get a start in any of these different topics, this is what we think is the best kind of set of sources that are available. So definitely look through them, start reading through. If there's anything that you want to understand a little bit more, there's some really great sources around here. Another really great thing that we've started ever since the Work on Climate started basically 2 years ago is to have expert office hours. And so I'll actually go from our website because you can see that right here. So our expert office hours, we have a number of different experts who make themselves available to be able to chat in small groups. It's usually 2 or 3 people, and you can just go ahead and book a time with them whenever they're next available to chat about anything that is related to it. So a lot of these people are working in climate companies or have started climate companies or have taken very interesting and varied career paths. So it's really great just to kind of scroll through and just talk to them. And they have different ideas of what you can talk to them about. We're also always adding new experts. So definitely check back and see which ones are available. And all you have to do is just click and book a time on their Calendly. We also have had like a number of different events ever since WoCl started. And of course, these started as virtual events, but we started to move towards having some in-person events at various times, but still mostly virtual. We have a lot of really great events that happen. We have a number of series that go on. So there's a Climate Investors series. There's a PMs in Climate series. Regen Agriculture has had a number of really great events. We have startup office hours. We have some success stories events, different things like that. These are all the official WoCl events. They're posted on the events official channel. We also have events external. So if you have an external event that you want to promote, you can put it on that one, as it's mentioned here. We also have a log of all of our past events. So as I mentioned, our YouTube, we've recorded a number of our past events. So if you're ever missing, you can always back and see what we've talked about. Now, at this point, there's like hundreds on there. So there's a lot of different events that you can look at and look at recordings. We also have some transcripts sometimes or notes that people have taken, and it's just really great. It's beautiful in how well it's been put together. And a lot of it's you can of how well it looks you can attribute to Tegan. Tegan's a really great marketer and visual designer, so she's been doing a lot of that behind the scenes. Cool. I think those are most of our programs. I did want to talk about our community guidelines, which are pretty important aspect of everything, now that you have a little bit of an intro to our community. So of course, our values are to be positive, celebrate others, keep them motivated. There's a lot of doom and gloom around climate. We want to try and keep people focused on action, and of course to be aware, but not to kind of focus on the doom and gloom, of course. We want people to be action oriented, to do more, talk less, team up with other people, be collaborative, connect on different things, drive initiatives, reach out and help others. These are all kind of values that we hope that we can that we hope to embody and that we hope to see in our community. We also want people to be experimental, to try out new things and approaches. There's going to be a need for a lot of different experimentation in a number of different ways to try something out. Especially on Slack, we have some general rules for engagement, just to make sure that everybody's being able to connect well. So if you found a really good resource, you can share it with a comment. We don't allow actually the posting of naked links. So if there's no like commentary on it, it won't allow you to actually make the post. So share it with some kind of commentary on why it's useful, or write down what you learned from it, add it to a starter pack, different things like that. If you need help with something, you can ask on the Need Help channel, of course, that's the channel that's available for that. If the answers are usable, like write it down in Notion, and if it's even better, come up with an idea for how to help people with a similar need and post it on the community. Find collaborators, make it happen. We want people to feel empowered to change structures and make things happen. If you want to meet somebody, definitely you can reach out to people that you find on introductions. Be mindful of different etiquette, which we'll talk about below. And again, yeah, if there's somebody that you think is super, super useful, ask them if they'll give a talk or organize an event with them. In terms of our Slack etiquette, we do ask that everybody focus on climate, that we're obviously a climate group. If there's discussions or resources whose primary focus is not climate, it might be good for a different group. Do check the channel topic. All the channels have kind of a description or a topic visible at the top of it. And so please read that before posting, because sometimes that you might realize that you need to post on a different channel. We also ask that you don't cross post to multiple large channels, because everybody will just be getting like the same notification. So just make sure that you're kind of in the right channel, that you post on that channel, and avoid too much cross posting. Again, positive action-oriented resources. There's a lot of doom and gloom climate news, which is important to understand, but we want to share resources that help others apply themselves to climate. We also ask that because we're a 501c3 nonprofit, we can't directly support political activities like specific candidates or specific referendums, telling people how to vote, things like that. You can advocate for specific viewpoints about, for instance, about clean energy or about electric vehicles. But if it's directly political, we'll have to ask that you not post those things. Also, we ask that if you are sharing something, please give context and make sure that you share it better than you found it. If there's missing context, if somebody posted something there, then definitely ask them for additional context. Ask the author on things to do that. We also, as I mentioned before, we're super excited for anybody who has a new venture or has some kind of thing that they want to promote, a blog, a vlog, newsletter, different things like that. We're super excited about anything that people are starting. We do ask that you only post about once a month, just so that people aren't getting spammed with a ton of different things. And again, rather than cross-posting to a bunch of different channels, because if everybody's on the big channels, you're just going to get pings from multiple places, and that's not going to make them more amenable to enjoying your initiative. So just pick one channel that's the best fit for your message, and you can see the Slack guide for more information on the topics. Ask for skilled help. So if you're asking people to help with it, make sure that it's like meaningful help in a professional capacity. don't just ask people to like follow social media or to sign a petition or sign up for a newsletter. Make sure that it's something that's a little bit more thoughtful and meaningful. Don't spam. If you do try to DM somebody to engage with your initiative, it should be clearly individually crafted. Don't be sending the same bot message to everybody. We do take those kinds of things seriously and want to make sure that people are getting appropriate DMs. Yeah. Also, as I mentioned, if you're unfamiliar with Slack, it's great for you to maybe take a look at some of the different Slack features and understand them a little bit better. We want to make sure that if you are replying, reply in the thread. So if you don't know how to do that, definitely search the Slack features. It should be the little kind of thought bubble icon. So respond to the message there rather than on the main, the top level message in the channel, because then everything is threaded together rather than kind of getting lost going back and forth from the main to the thread. You're not allowed to use at HereNet channel unless it's on a channel that you're managing yourself. Like if you're a learning group host, they're disabled on large channels just because that gives too many notifications to people. We also know that the community is really amazing, has really great people on there. And to that extent, please be mindful of people's time. Please ask time only from those who like explicitly offer it. So if they say that they're interested in like their introduction or something like that, make sure that you can see if you can have your general questions answered by other areas before you go and ask the CEO of an energy company to meet you. And if you're doing cold reach outs, that's fine. Just make sure that you're doing your homework. If you're reaching out to somebody, make as much effort as you can to figure out what you're asking from them, and reach out with a concrete idea of how this person can unblock you.